Good morning, guten morgen, everyone. Well, I regret that immediately. I thought about doing that last night, and I regret it immediately. welcome, everyone, to Trotec Laser Live on a different day this week. You're joining us on Thursday. It's going to be a holiday tomorrow in Canada. And very generously, I have my colleagues from TLAD who have joined me this morning to talk to all of you about what it is that TLAD does, what separates them from the other kind of Trotec subsidiaries, what makes them the same, and maybe some of their background in the industry. I'm really excited to get to ask them some questions, find out a little bit more. For everybody who's tuning in live in the chat, I hope you'll say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. And in the meantime, I would love to kind of go around and introduce you to the gentleman you see on screen with me here. Perhaps I will start with Harold. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent.
I'm Harold, the Managing Director of TLD, which means Trotec Laser Automation. So we are the subsidiary or the part in the Trotec organization for industrial solutions, for the workstations, and also for the customization for special customer tasks, which we will go through later.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've got some pretty, we've got Lev in the background as always helping us out with videos and various things. I've got to say, we've got some really, really cool stuff to show you guys today. I hope we'll get a lot of questions from chat. I think this is kind of a unique stream. I don't think we've ever really got to talk about automation at Trotec. But before I get ahead of myself, perhaps I'll go over to Stefan. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm excited. It's our first stream.
Join us. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you do with TLAD?
Yeah, so I'm the newest guy in the pre-sales department or group. So the pre-sales is somewhere the link between the sales and the technicians who do the solutions in the end. So yes, and I have a laser application background. In my last job, I was working a lot with thin layers and a lot with galvo lasers.
Oh, cool.
Fits perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. I should say, again, part of the reason I think, as I say, you can see it already on screen. I'm trying not to get lost in watching the videos that you guys prepared, but we have a really diverse set of expertise today. I mean, we are always very, very lucky in terms of the quality and the experience of guests that we have on the stream, but today we have a particularly interesting group, so I hope, please feel free to throw any laser or Trotec specific questions into the chat, and we'll of course be grabbing those as we go along. Kind of moving along here, I will ask really quickly, Andreas, could you introduce yourself, please, sir?
Yeah, hello. So I'm member of the department for the pre-sales and at the site of TLAD, and I'm with Trotec since maybe about 15 years. And my background is software development and PLC programming and design for that control units.
Very cool. Have you been with TLAD the full time that you've been at Trotec? Have you worked at a couple of different locations, or has this been kind of your home for the entire time?
No, for short times I worked in a software company for design software for hardware-based steering units.
Very cool. I was curious to know how you feel like Trotec has changed in the time that you've been there, or possibly how what you do at TLAD has kind of changed in that time. Because I imagine, I've only been here this will be my 4th year, and already I see such incredible change in terms of even the types of machines we see, the sophistication of the machines, the software in particular. Obviously, with Ruby launching, it's been quite a shift even in my limited amount of time. Very last but certainly not least, I want to go to Hannes. Sir, how are you this morning?
Oh, well, thank you, Don. Very exciting to be here.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm with Trotec since 2018, so more or less the same time frame like you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, my professional background is mechanical engineering. And so as this, I will close the circle from the pre-sales team. And yeah, I'm always part of the pre-sales team here at TLAD since I'm with Trotec.
That's very cool. So to give customers who might be watching an idea, it's like you talk about TLAD as you said, Trotec Laser Automation. Perhaps I'll go to Harold and sort of say, what do you think sort of makes what you guys do specifically at TLAD a little bit special and a little bit different from what a customer might see at a typical Trotec showroom?
Yeah, and in the typical showroom, you see our standard products, the flatbed lasers, the speedies, which they're all big variety of functions and features. Here we develop and produce the laser workstations, which you see in the videos with the galvo scanner technology. And we are specialized first developing the standard product, but then also customizing the product to special customer needs. So this starts with the simply fact that if for some reason the customer wants a blue machine, we can recolor, or we get the sheet metal in blue or whatever. But this goes on with lots of customizations are interfaces. So for automation functions or for database connections, such as SAP or whatever to connect and to get the data, the content of the marking transfer from the database to the laser and then mark automatically the workpieces.
So obviously I want to know more about that. Just out of curiosity though, very quickly, has someone ever asked for a blue machine? Because it seems like sacrilege.
It's blue or black or any different colors, which for the workstations, and the workstations or the galvo business especially is more on the industrial focus, and their customers sometimes has the requirement, they have defined colors for their equipment, and so we provide this. Sounds simple, is still some effort. No,
absolutely.
Every year we have like 5 to 10 machines in different colors.
I have to ask, so to get a sense then of how long has TLAD been a sort of a separate or very specialized part of kind of the Trotec Laser family? Was it always a separate kind of offshoot from the main kind of Austrian branch, or is it something that's developed over a matter of years into kind of its own special thing?
I mean, Trotec now has this year its 25-year anniversary, and it started from a garage startup to now 800 people, as probably most people know. And in this growth, at some point, they did kind of got in cooperation with, at that time, what's called Ball Automation Company. So Mr. Ball founded this site here some 30 years ago, and started also with galvo workstation. And then first they had a cooperation, and then Trotec acquired this unit to add this industrial know-how and galvo know-how to the portfolio.
That's very cool.
Now we are since 2008 part of the Trotec community.
A great question coming from LinkedIn from Robert. Thank you for the question, Robert. Maybe I'll ask it of Andreas, kind of just generally, having been, as you said, with the company for quite a few years, what would you say? I mean, each machine that you produce at TLAD, as I understand it, is a little bit special. Each integration is going to be a little bit different from the one before. But if you had to kind of sum up, what are the typical products? What are the typical sort of marking or solutions that most of the time your teams would be working with?
The typical job we have to do with the laser marking is, for example, to mark some information on products for the unique identifying and so on. Things like codes, 2D codes, 1D codes, and so on. A lot of applications too, of course, are applications which is maybe, for example, marking some labels, logos, and so on for doing branding, and some more stuff like things like that.
Makes sense. I think what's tough sometimes with lasers always, thank you, Robert, is because they're so flexible. I mean, we're fortunate that galvos perhaps are a little bit more kind of streamlined in terms of the materials that they work with, but lasers can do so much that it's very often tough to answer a question about like what is the typical product that a laser works with, because it's a little bit of everything. I'd love to look into some of so you guys have prepared some excellent kind of case study pieces for us to look at. I think it kind of helps to answer this question as well. Do we maybe want to look at some of these? I don't know if Lev can pop up some of the videos and some of the things that we've got prepared. Thank you, sir. So I was curious if somebody could kind of walk me through a little bit of what we're seeing, because these are not at all necessarily going to be your typical standard. I mean, I recognize the speed marker, obviously, but then as soon as it opens up, you can tell that something is special, something is a little bit different if you've ever seen a speed marker. You know, can somebody tell me a little bit about, I mean, what we're seeing and what sort of challenge that this machine was built to solve?
Yes, I can do this. So this machine is especially built for producing labels made of laser foil. So laser foil is especially developed for engraving, marking by a laser, so not by us. And the labels are used when a direct part marking is not possible, for example. But they also break if someone tries to remove them from the part. And this is a desired property to avoid manipulation, for example. The labels are very resistant against environmental influences. And the machine itself is a modified Speedmark 700 from the series line. And there we integrated a foil transport system.
I mean,
which you can see in the video.
I've got to say, like, I never get tired of seeing the speed with which the speed marker can mark. I mean, it's always been impressive to me, but it occurs to me, I so often think about the speed marker as very flexible, but then if you have any sort of piece that's an odd shape or an odd dimension, I imagine there really is, like a custom solution like this one really is the best way to go, perhaps, as, if you need that permanent, sort of, you need that identifier, you need that plate, but it's on a piece that's not necessarily going to fit into the machine itself.
Of course, this is a typical solution for that.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this might be my favorite one simply because I really love the large speed markers. Please go ahead.
So here we have a special adapted machine. So starts with the size of the machine. It's way bigger than our standard machines, and we have this sliding table with this round part to be marked. So it's really easy to put in the part, mark, and take it out again.
That's so cool, and it's blue.
Yeah, yes,
and it's blue.
I love that. Is that a
sounds funny, but it's really customer like this, and wow.
Oh, absolutely right. And I mean, it really goes to show, I mean, the level of customization that you're doing with an integration goes beyond just, perhaps setting up the machine in a special way, but it really does seem to go down to, a very fine grain point. Am I wrong in saying, like, it really seems like you guys are going the extra mile to make sure the customer receives everything they need, even if it is literally just the changing of the color of the machine?
Yeah, here we see this workpiece carrier where we take the part, and also we see the laser is not vertical but horizontal, so it's adapted to the marking position. So we can bring on the mark at the required position.
I think it's interesting too that so if you didn't necessarily know how this machine was set up, you wouldn't necessarily know that this is a completely custom setup. But one thing I would remind people, not only is this completely custom, but it also adds a lot of ease for the operator, right? I mean, whoever it is that's working for the customer then just has to simply put in the piece, slide it in and walk away. Trying to set up something like a wheel in this case, or anything that's a bit of an odd shape or an odd dimension inside of a machine can be really, really taxing or difficult. So I love the solution. It's really, really cool. I'm curious. So we've got a great question here from Benjamin here in the chat. So he asked kind of, to what extent is this clear for you, and what new solutions in the area are you cooking? So I think, if I'm understanding you correctly, Benjamin, are you sort of saying, how much of what you do sort of with each customer can be a repeated task, and how much of each solution has to be concocted from scratch each time? Is there a certain amount that you can reuse? I remember when we did this installation with the wheels where we were able to mount the laser sideways, we could reuse that for this. Or with each one, do you kind of have to approach it from zero, like, okay, we have a speed marker, now what? Where do we go from here?
I would say now we have different modules. So we have first a flexible software, which Andreas will show us later a little bit what we can do with the software. Then the machine server itself, we have access modules, and we can arrange like a modular set. And then we have also the machine programming, and the interfaces. So there are different modules we can add up, and if there's one missing, we can build a new one. And then of course we are in constant exchange with our product manager. So when we see this specific feature is required or demanded by the market more often, then we move the customized option or solution to the standard features of our standard product. So that's
makes sense. So perhaps, please go ahead with the next video. I would love to ask, so in terms of a custom solution like this, I mean, Benjamin asked a great question. How much would you say that the speed marker kind of stands apart from its competitors as a galvo machine? And then what is it that makes it a prime candidate for customization or for installation into an interesting setup? I'd love to hear kind of what you think makes the speed marker a great fit for custom installs like this, or for a customer that maybe has a tricky problem to solve.
I think that's the major USPs we can provide are that we can do the customization and adapt to the specific customer needs. And the other USP is, and that probably now it's time for Andreas to show, is our Speedmark Laser software, where we have a scripting function, so we can do some automation and run automated jobs, which just makes life much easier.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. Would somebody be able to walk me through? So I'd love if you could sort of talk me through this video, because I think this gives a great description of kind of a step-by-step piece.
Yeah, I can do this. So this is a solution which was created on requirements of a customer. So the requirement was to have a good access to the machine, but on the other hand, to have a table which is extendable. And in the end, we modified our standard Speedmark 1350 with the cutout in the machine tabletop. And we equipped the machine with 2 operation modes for working or operating the machine just inside, or operate the machine when the table is moving out of the machine.
That's cool.
So, and this is a good example for, let me say, customized solution, customized option introduced by a customer's need.
Makes sense. I'm curious, Hannes, like, does it ever happen, or have you ever seen it, that a customized solution, or perhaps something that began as a customized solution, has become a standard offer from Trotec? Has it ever become, sort of a standard issue? Anything that we've created that maybe began life as a special solution for someone? I don't know of any personally, I will say, not to put you on the spot. I have to say, off the top of my head, I can't think of any, but
so I think yes. So this basis machine you see on the video now, the Speedmark is 700. So the result from our standard Speedmark 1300 maybe is to extend this 700. Yeah, I think in the first time it was done for one customer, and now we have it in the series line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is it that I'm curious? What is it that we're seeing in the video right here? Could somebody sort of tell me? I mean, I love the application, but was this a prototype machine, or was this done specifically for a particular customer requirement?
This was done for customer requirement. Here we see the parts are on this belt. Then there's the stopping unit, and then where we mark. So each part is fixed. Now we see more detail, and we do the marking. So in a fixed position, we do the marking on the exact position where the marking is required, and then the parts are taken out into the box. Here the customer wanted to load the parts manually on this belt, and then run through the machine. And the special task here is it's curved because of the laser safety. So now it's a laser safe machine. So no laser light will go out of the machine. So that the operator is safe.
I believe we may have one more video. I am excited to get to see the demonstration from Andreas, but I would ask sort of, Andreas, from your side, how much does software factor into a custom solution? I mean, obviously at the end of the day, the easiest thing to show is the finished machine, which obviously is a real wow moment to get to see the finished workstation, right? But how much does the software factor into creating something that's custom for the customer?
Of course, the machine you can see here is a very big part, but the real unique feature we can offer with our workstation is the software, the Speedmark software itself. With this software, it's possible to do an automated process very, very fast for your product, and you can do some automation in different ways and very fast, and it's possible to do maybe some enter screens for the end user, or to work with data, to work with files and so on. And it's maybe almost the same size of software park stacking inside a machine like that than the part you can see here in a mechanical way.
I believe it. I would love if you could give us kind of a demonstration of some of the custom scripting that's possible with Speedmark. We've gotten to talk about it a little bit with customers on some of these webinars, but I don't think we've ever really gotten to show it. So I would be really, really interested if you could do that for us.
For example, if you'd like to have some scripting or to do some customization in kind of software customization for machines, you first have to know for our laser machines we are using Speedmark software, and the Speedmark software contains at first the marking field you can see here as a rectangle, and every content you put into this field here, later it's gonna be possible to mark. And here on the left side you can do as a normal user your kind of scripting. That means you can do the automation. So that's a quick explanation for what the software in principle is. So when we have here some example to do, then we can use the software in the way I can show you now. So for example, we can choose a kind of graphic. Just choose it, add it, import it. Here in this case, we'd like to import every layer because it's just one. Now you can see, yeah, that's your graphic. You can now start and work with your graphic. the first thing you'd like to do is maybe, for example, to have it in a special size. And this could be done in this field transformation folder. And now it's possible for you to place it everywhere in the marking field you'd like to have it. Now the second thing you have to do is to give some marking parameter to your graphics. So we are going to use the project material. This setup with speed and frequency and quality and power seems to be okay. So that means we can just just choose it. Now it's working. So, and the next thing we'd like to do is to fill the mark. That means we have here a folder for filling. We are doing this with bi-directional lines and the distance inside the hatch of maybe 0.2 millimeters. We'd like to have the filling without some contour. So, and the next thing we'd like to do is we'd like to multiply it. Multiplying a graphic like that is easy. We are just going to create an array, and we'd like to have here maybe, for example, in a horizontal way 3 rows and 3 lines. I'd like to apply this, and now we can define the direction we are gonna work with the graphics. So, and now we put the graphic in, and you can see we have the mark of the graphics programmed in 9 times.
Wow.
So now we have to just to change the distance. And the distance in both directions. That means we can use here same distance. So now it's possible for us to do a positioning of the whole graphics. And you can see how the script is working. The second thing we'd like to do here is, for example, to see how easy it is to put some code into the graphics. We just have to add it. Now you can see it here. You can do a positioning of the code.
So this is a QR code, Andreas, right?
It's a QR code, yeah. No, it's a data matrix, so the QR code is used with another coding, but it's a 2D code. If you'd like to have a QR code, it's possible to change the specs of the code. You just have to choose it here, like that. Now it's a QR code. In a very easy way, you can change your code to every kind of code you'd like to have. If we have done the implementation for the kind of coding, you can choose it. So, and the third thing we'd like to do is to add some text. And the text later on should have the same content like the coding itself. So, what the content of the code could be, we can define here. With that kind of input box, we have a possibility to program a small user interface in a fast way. So and possible to create some kind of variable to have a small data store. When you'd like to have some idea how it will look afterwards, you can just press this button for showing the dialog, and you can see what will appear later on. So now we have an input box, and here we can say the data we defined just a few seconds ago, we can use for the code for entering or for defining the content. And for the text, we can do maybe, for example, the same. So, and when you'd like, for example, to have an automation with our workstations, just in a way, turning the key switch around, starting the automatic mode, after pressing a start button, for example, the door will close and open after the mark. It's predefined here in the properties for the whole script. You just have to use the checkbox for automatic program loop. When you're going to define the passes with 0, it's infinite and we'll start an endless run. Here you can define some internal signals for the communication with the hardware of the machine, and here it's possible to define some text message for the operator in front of the machine what he has to do. So if the option is activated, you can see here you created in a first way a loop, and the next thing after you have created a loop, maybe you'd like to have a decision between marking with or without a text. Maybe, for example, that means you can ask the operator something, and the answer possibilities for the operator should be yes or no. And we have to do a new variable for working with the content of the user answer. So, and now we can just use kind of junction.
Sorry.
Now,
So I've been telling customers that the level of scripting within Speedmarker is robust for a long time. I didn't realize. So it has even, I mean, custom like Boolean logic and things where you can set like yes or no, like if yes then this, if no then this sort of statements for an operator who's using the machine. I mean,
can you repeat just the question?
Well, so I mean, what you're doing here, the adding in sort of like you said, junctions and logic gates, where so I mean, it's blowing me away how fast you're able to set this up. So this is something that Speedmark just does natively. This isn't a special version of Speedmark or anything like that. Like this is the flexibility that comes built into this.
That's no special version of Speedmark. That's a standard you can do with the Speedmark software.
Wow.
With every machine we deliver, the Speedmark software is installed on. You can do that. If you are trained using the scripting, it's possible for you to do that script or that kind of scripting at your own. And now you can see we just finished the script, and maybe, for example, or for this show, it's all we had to do. And now on the machine, we just need to start the script again, and just the moment anybody turns this key switch around and press the start button afterwards, the marking we programmed the last few seconds will start, as you can see it here. So now we have to enter some content for the code, as we like to have it as an information from the operator. And now you can see how the 3 graphics, or the 9 graphics we used for our sequence, are going to be marked.
Wow.
Just a few seconds and it's finished.
This might be a silly question, but can I ask, so the codes, the 2D codes that were they were replicated across the array, could you set a different sort of a different result for each one, or a different? Wow,
yeah, of course. It's possible to use maybe a kind of a serial file, and for every code you can use maybe another content. It's possible to use for every code the same content, but even a different content is possible for each code.
That's really cool.
That's one example. You can use the data interface, then you get different content from your data or file system to the marking and on your workpiece, like serial numbers and other specific product information.
I mean, it's so tough, I think, to stress how much flexibility the software gives you, particularly as that is probably the best example I think I've ever seen. I really appreciate that, Andres. Thank you. I mean, what's impressive to me, I think, is that you're able to add that level of customization to the software, but it doesn't appear to be that difficult. Like, it seems very straightforward in the way that it's laid out and the way that you're putting it together. You know, how would you describe that sort of that flow of you know, jobs that, or the flow of steps that's coming down the left side there when you were setting up the loop? Is it sort of just like a step-by-step workflow for what the operator can expect?
Maybe impossible. You can say it's a step-by-step workflow. In a simple way, you can use all the flowcharts elements out of the toolbox you have seen a few seconds ago. And if you'd like to have it in a more special way, it's possible to maybe, for example, to give statements and instructions and do something like basic programming. You can just enter your code here, and the box here, the statement will do whatever you have programmed in that. But that's the second step. In the first step, for easy use of the software, you can just have a use of the flowchart elements here and just put it in the right sequence, and the actions will happen in the right sequence.
I think that's the thing I'd love to highlight for anyone who's not familiar with our software. First and foremost, is that when I first heard about the flexibility that Speedmark offers, the term coding seemed, as somebody who doesn't do much in the way of coding, it seems very imposing. But I think the way that it's laid out as a graphical interface, the way that it allows you to quickly and easily understand it, really allows anyone to kind of access that, you know, that level of customization that the software has. We have another really cool, I believe Lev has it ready to go. Yeah, the walk around. So I don't know, Stefan, if you'd be comfortable to sort of to take us through this, but I would love if you could sort of walk us through this video, please.
Yes, of course I can. So we prepared a little walkthrough through our production. So on this side here in Germany, all Galvo workstations, so the Speedmarker 700, 1300 and 1600, they are all built here at our site. And what you can see here at the beginning is our warehouse with all the incoming goods. And we have stock components. We are ready. If you order a machine, a standard series machine now during the stream, we have all the parts ready here. We can directly start to build it. Yeah, I think the next part that comes in the video and on our walkthrough is the pre-assembly. We have a mechanical and an electrical pre-assembly. Here on the left is a mechanical pre-assembly. For example, here there are the axis for the workstation is pre-built here, and on the back you have the electrical pre-assembly. There we built the access control racks that control the laser, and they also include a laser safety circuit, for example. So yeah, just to make sure that, for example, if the door is open, we make sure that there is no laser coming out. Yeah. So in general, we get the lasers from the headquarters in Austria, and the frame for the machine we get also from a supplier. And if then everything is ready, if we have a new order, our production is working on an island production principle. That means we have one spot in the production where the machine is built from start to finish, and so one guy is doing the whole machine there. It's not like we have person A who does every time the same step. Yeah, and so the wagon with all the prepared parts go then into the production, which is here in the second room. Here you can see the frame like we get it from the supplier. This is a Speedmark 1300. And yeah, so in the mechanic production, yeah, we built a machine, so it's the integration of the laser that comes pre-built. It's all the mechanical parts. It's a lot of wiring, and if all that is built together, then comes the startup, and we do the calibration of the galvo scanner head. So we need to calibrate the scan field so that every marking comes exactly where it's supposed to be, and that the focal plane is all right. And here you can see, yeah, it's a laser acceptance pattern that we laser at the end to prove that everything is set up in the correct way. And so then each laser machine has its own laser lens correction file that it's generated here. So it's yeah, the lenses come with the little difference. Every lens is different, so we just make sure that it's lasering as good as possible. Yeah, then there's some final testing like endurance tests, and then we directly come to the last part, which is the packaging. So the laser is put in the box, and so every galvo laser workstation worldwide comes from this way and is going out of the store, and maybe your next laser workstation as well.
I mean, so there's a couple things there I want to ask you about, but I didn't realize that it was, as you say, sort of one person following a machine through every step of the production of the machine. That's pretty cool. Like somebody has a particular ownership of that machine kind of from start to finish. How important would you say is the fact that, for all intents and purposes, the Trotec machines are assembled by hand, that it's somebody building something or assembling the parts together, themselves, as opposed to, getting all the pieces in and simply plugging them into the machine. I mean, you can see it right here. Like, say you have somebody working, by hand to put that part together. I feel like, that's an important part of what makes a Trotec and gives us the quality that we're proud of, kind of thing.
Yeah, so it has an individual touch, and yeah.
Absolutely.
So you build it from start to finish.
The whole machines are designed and developed by Trotec to our plans and produced by our drawings, but we are assembly side, let's say. Yeah, so we get all the components part from our suppliers and then build the machine. And the most important part is the startup phase, where we get the quality state of the machine. So the laser is well adjusted, the machine is adjusted, and it does what it should do that.
Yeah, well, like you said, Stefan, so you have that special pattern that you're marking, before each piece goes out the door to make sure that everything is perfectly calibrated, perfectly running how it should be, kind of right before it goes out the door. I was fortunate enough to get to see some of the production facilities in Austria this year, and I don't know what I had pictured, but I never imagined that a lot of the stuff is, like you say, put together by an individual by hand. I don't know what sort of robots I imagine we were using, but it makes sense that everything is kind of very specially engineered and very specially put together. And we want to be sure that what you're getting with the Trotec is the same every time. Forgive me.
Sorry, Don, that gives us the flexibility, because we produce the machines by the order. So we have orders for small machines, big machines, customized machines, and we are ready for this then to produce the machine at time and with then short delivery times. So we are prepared for that.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. There's a great question here. I think it's from Joey. Yes, thank you, Lev, so much. So curious, is there a specialist in sort of programming and automation in every country? Or if somebody buys a Speedmarker system, would it be perhaps yourself, Andreas, or somebody from from Austria, whoever it is, that would be advising customers on how to set up some of that custom scripting if it was something they wanted to explore for their workflow, for their business?
If you buy a machine with a customized scripting, so it's automatically not a standard series anymore, it's a customized machine. This is also done here in Markdorf.
No, there are different levels. So there are trained customers who are trained to the scripting, do it by themselves. Then we have like on the first level specialists in each country. But the example we have seen today is rather a simple example. Yeah, if it's then gets more complicated and more difficult, then the scripting is prepared here, then start up in a specific country. But we can with remote access we can support anywhere on the planet. So this is don't need to the programming specialist doesn't need to be physically in front of the machine.
Yes.
With our really service technicians, we are at a specific facility anywhere.
So I'm curious then. I mean, when it comes to like a really specialized system like this one, for example, how does training of customers typically occur? Do we do kind of an online conference where they would have a chance to chat with the team at TLAD to get an idea of how the machine works, how it's designed, all those sort of things? I guess as you're doing the integration, obviously you'll be having conversations with them, but do operators typically have a chance, or do customers typically have a chance to receive training also on just the very special way that their machine is set up and how it runs?
We first of all we offer trainings, and for real special machines we actually require a training here before delivery. We call it pre-acceptance test and training. So customer is coming over, we are running through the process, through his application, checking if everything is like it was defined in the quote, and then customer gets its training and the acceptance, and then we do the delivery.
That's really cool. Are there kind of particular industries then in typical that TLAD would most often be catering to? I mean, without necessarily having to get into any particular names of businesses or anything like that, I'd be curious to know, maybe Hannes, you could tell us, like, are there particular industries that would usually more often than not need a customized machine versus a standard Speedmarker?
I think the strength of Trotec is to be present on the whole world, and with all our 17 sales organizations, we get such a big variety of demands and applications
Definitely.
So there's really a broad band of applications and industries where our customers are today.
We were sort of talking about this earlier, but because lasers are so flexible, it's always tough to say what the typical laser customer or the typical laser product is. They're kind of all over the place, but that's part of also what I love about lasers is that you have that flexibility to work with so many different industries and so many different people. Is there anything that you're currently working on that you're able to talk to us about? Obviously nothing in breach of confidentiality, obviously, anything like that, but do you have any sort of interesting projects kind of currently on the go?
Maybe the chance to just explain a little bit more the general processing. So
Please.
at TLAD with the guys we present today, we call the pre-sales team. We work together with your local sales organization. So the pre-sales guys support your sales manager who is talking with you to your project. We support developing the right solution for you and then offering this. So we primarily support our sales team to get the best solution for our customers.
So as a member of the pre-sales team, then are you getting to work a little bit with sales guys and sales managers from all across the globe, like Trotec subsidiaries in countries in North America, South America, in Europe, kind of all scattered, everywhere? I mean, that's
Maybe
kind of
pre-sales guys can answer this.
Yes, we do, as we do it with Canada at the moment. But let's say the focus is in the middle Europe for customized projects so far.
Makes sense. I mean, as you say, if somebody has if somebody is doing something of this scale, having them more easily acceptable. I mean, even obviously Europe is a big place, so having to travel across Europe is perhaps tricky. But when you're setting up something like this, it really feels like you're probably involved at every stage. And as you say, even in some of the more really custom projects, they may have to visit you before picking up the machine. So that's a really particular scenario. We're just about at the top of the hour. I think I have maybe one or two other questions. I was curious in terms of, again, we don't have to necessarily get too specific, but is there sort of a frequency, or typically, how often are we able to solve a custom solution just with integration of Trotec parts and pieces and things like this? And how often do we perhaps have to integrate, like something from a third-party supplier, so a robotic arm, whatever it might be? That's the only one that I'm familiar with is one in Canada we did with a robotic arm, but forgive my lack of knowledge on that one. Is it typically we're involving kind of a third-party supplier as well, or are we usually, for the most part, do we see, kind of Trotec start to finish?
All right, like when we use automation modules like a robot, or like here in the video currently the belt, this is usually it's not produced by Trotec. We have suppliers for these modules we use, and our task is to choose the right module, integrate it into the machine, make the whole machine run, and develop the process.
That's very, very cool. Well, I know. I mean, due to time difference, I won't even guess at what time in the afternoon or evening it is presently there. But I will thank you guys very much. I know you're all very busy, and you've taken, hours this week out of your schedules to work with me and to work with Lev and to get all of this put together. We really hope that in the future we'll get to do more streams with the team at TLAD. I think what you guys do is a really important part of what we offer at Trotec, and I think is something that perhaps doesn't get talked about enough. I think it's a really special application that you guys offer, and obviously, and I really hope that people get a better sense of, not only is the laser just flexible straight out of the box, but if you have something you need to accomplish with a Trotec laser, even if it has to be blue, like we can do it. But yeah, a huge thank you to all of you, to Harold, Hannes, to Stefan, to Andreas. Thank you again for showing us the scripting. I really hope we can do even a further deep dive into some of that in the coming weeks. Thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat today, of course, as well. Thank you guys for the great questions. We appreciate it. If you end up watching this later on our YouTube channel, I hope you'll leave us a question there as well. A late question from Joey. Okay, I will throw this one in as the ending statement here. Is it possible to do automation on like more core machines like the Speedy 360, or is it relegated purely to the Galvo systems, to the Speedmark systems?
The focus currently is on the Galvo systems with the Speedmark software, because the Speedmark software is prepared for this task, and also the machine has more possibilities with I/O modules and interfaces. So the focus is on workstations.
And that makes sense. I mean, we saw it in the demonstration. The Speedmark software is just perfectly suited, and I'm sure, obviously, especially designed to that task. But I mean, if you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to even throw them after the video is done into the comments on YouTube, and we will do our best to get a hold of the guys in TLAD, to get a hold of the experts, obviously, and to get you back that information. But once again, a huge thank you to the entire team at TLAD and to everyone from watching. And we'll see you again next week with another Trotec stream. Take care, everybody.
Big thank you to the guys from Canada for having this webinar with us. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Not at all. We appreciate it. All the best, everyone.